Hello fellow creature, welcome back to Rooftop Talks. In this video I want to talk about dogs. Are dogs really the best animal in the animal kingdom? Often if you ask someone why they like dogs so much, they will talk about the dog's personality. In many ways, dogs reflect the same character traits that we aspire to have as humans. For example, loyalty, courage, a kind of carefree peace with oneself, an ability to truly experience the present moment, and the highest of the highs. When a dog sees and their pack member comes back from a journey, that dog is ecstatic in a way that many humans only wish that they could feel, even for a moment, that amount of joy, an amount of happiness. It's like an ecstasy of joy. Dogs are very giving in their love. Not all dogs perhaps, but many dogs are very selfless. They put others before themselves, and these are traits that we aspire to have as humans, as good humans. So are dogs the best animals? Is it that their personalities stand above the personalities of other animals in the animal kingdom? And how would you know? Do you spend time with other animal groups in the animal kingdom? Do you get to know animals that are not conventional house pets?
Huh?
Yeah. Oh, I got tackled.
It's not something that we do too often, is it? If you live in the city like I do, you don't really interact with many animals in the animal kingdom. But there are people out there who do, and they make documentaries about these people who interact on a regular basis with wild animals. One such example is, I think it was a Netflix film called My Octopus Teacher, or something like that. It was a wonderful little film about a man who truly befriends a little octopus.
A lot of people say an octopus is like an alien. But the strange thing is, as you get closer to them, you realize that we're very similar in a lot of ways.
It was a wonderful story, very touching. I've also known shark divers. When asked about the personality of the sharks that they interact with, they will often say they're like dogs, they're like puppies, in the way that the diver comes to the bottom of the sea floor and the shark will recognize them and be happy, be visibly happy. So there's a lot of evidence out there that there are many animals that exhibit personality traits that are much like dogs. Dogs are not unique in the personality traits that we value as humans, that we aspire to. And of course, these traits can also be found in the farm animals that we as a society routinely massacre for cooking ingredients. Farm animals that exhibit dog-like traits. My intention with this video is to bridge the divide between humans and non-human animals. And I've used dogs as a bridge to do that, because in a way, dogs are the closest that humans get to understanding what it's like to be a non-human animal. And what we find is when a human has the privilege of getting to know a non-human animal, more often than not, they form a connection, a bond with that non-human animal.
We got a bond quite early on. He used to follow me around the pen since he's been little. We used to play hide and seek, which I know is mad. I used to hide behind the wall and run to the other side, and he would run after me, but the bigger he got, this big ball coming bouncing after you probably wasn't the best idea, but he loved a little bit of hide and seek, so he's too old now, he doesn't care to play hide and seek anymore. We just play cuddles instead.
But you might be wanting to say at this point, no, dogs were chosen by humans for their personalities. So they were selected out of the animal kingdom because of those personalities, man's best friend, right? And that is a complete falsehood. Dogs were chosen for their utility. Humans found dogs useful. Dogs are omnivorous, so it's easy to feed them. They'll eat almost anything. They would eat the scraps that were left over that humans didn't want to eat, so that was easy to maintain. Dogs were also very responsive to food motives, so they would do anything for a scrap of food, which made them easy to train. But really the best thing about the dog from a utility point of view for a family or for a clan, a group of people, a community of people, is the dog's bark. A dog's bark was the alarm system for a family before electrical alarms were invented. You would have dogs for that role, which would alert humans to any kind of intruder, any danger, any thieves that were trying to intrude and invade your property. In addition to that, they were very useful for hunting. They had a very keen sense of smell. Humans didn't choose dogs because they struck up a friendship and they were man's best friend. Dogs have personalities of their own, and because humans had a proximity to dogs, they started to enjoy the personality traits that dogs had. So once dogs were chosen for their utility, humans started to spend time with them. And so humans gained an appreciation, but those personalities are animalistic personalities. They're not unique to dogs.
And I sit right next to him and he just hangs out with me while I do my work.
Nice gramps. Oh, good.
He's beautiful. He's this large, gentle, velvety, adorable dog. Like, I can't explain it. He's just a beautiful, beautiful animal.
So I'm showing you here videos of other animal species. And your reaction might be, wow, those animals are behaving like dogs. Oh my God, they're behaving like dogs. They're not behaving like dogs, they're behaving like animals, like the sensitive, conscious creatures that they are. So are dogs. Dogs are behaving like animals. So many different animals, especially mammalian animals, so many of them behave in these ways. So despite the rarity of genuine contact, we have an abundance of the wonderful qualities in these animals. So I think we should pay more attention to these video clips, and my intention, as I've said, is to bridge the gap between humans and non-human animals so that we stop massacring them. Once you really deeply acknowledge the experiences and the qualities of these animals and how dogs are not unique in those traits that we enjoy and admire, perhaps then it will compel you to stop participating in their exploitation, their abuse, and their murder. The last meal you ate as a non-vegan undoubtedly involved an animal who had many of the personality traits that a dog or a cat would have. Yes, including a chicken. Chickens have similar personality traits to cats and bunny rabbits. Yes, so do salmon, so do tuna. Just because they live in a different biome to us doesn't mean they don't still have those kind of traits. If it was beef, if it was lamb, if it was pork, they were put into a condition where they were cramped, scared for their lives. They were probably starved of food on the lorry ride over to the slaughterhouse, starved so that they would stay docile, so they would have less energy to fight back when they were unloaded from the car. When they got to the slaughterhouse, they were kicked and prodded and shoved off of the trailer because none of those animals go willingly. They can smell the blood in the air. They can hear the screams of the other animals in the abattoir. They have to be forced off of that cart in cramped, huddled conditions, much like Auschwitz, prodded down the gangway onto the kill floor. A lot of this shoving nowadays is done by hydraulic machinery because they found that it traumatized the people that had to work there. So most of this is done by machinery nowadays, so that no human eyes have to see it for themselves, because they have found that it leaves people with PTSD. So that machinery pens them in. They can hear up ahead the screams of the other animals. Every surface around them is cold, metallic. There's nothing organic in this place. It has to be metallic so that the blood and the filth can be washed at the end of each day to prevent diseases from spreading. So I'm painting a picture for you the last moments of these dog-like animals, right? Their last moments is in this cold, sterile warehouse, surrounded by hydraulic machinery and screaming victims. This isn't a quick death. This isn't over quickly. Down this corridor, we see hundreds of animals, and they're not all from factory farms. A lot of them are from high welfare farms. They all end up there at the slaughterhouse because the slaughterhouse has the ability to kill animals with efficiency. Right? So anything you might buy that is remotely competitive on the marketplace goes through this system of cruelty. And it's not intending to be cruel. It is cruel because it prioritizes profit over comfort every time. So your last meal as a non-vegan, with that meal, you paid for an animal to feel scared. I'm just reframing it for you, but that is what you did. You paid for an animal to feel scared, and that is a shameful thing to do. You're a reliable customer. You're a reliable source of finance for this industry. If everyone stopped, these slaughterhouses would shut down. They rely on your participation. They exist on a narrow margin of profit. They find it difficult to source staff to work these slaughterhouses because of how traumatic it is to work in there, because of how degrading and disgusting it is. So they already find it difficult to staff these places. It balances on a small margin of profit and a dip in demand from people realizing what they are participating in. A dip in demand like that, it can shut down one of these slaughterhouses. And when the slaughterhouse shuts down, the whole supply chain starts to collapse. We can end this thing. We can end it. It just takes decisive action. The customers need to realize the atrocity that they are perpetuating. And then once they realize, because I think most people do realize, I think most people understand on some level what they're participating in, they need to make the decision to stop, because doing so would be bringing them in line with the values that they espouse. I'll finish the video there. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.